Welcome in, everyone. Happy to have you here. As always, we have a major development, a new report in Donald Trump's targeting action plans against the cartel. This comes after previous reports about recon, spy flights flying. This one it's pretty big revelation, really piles the details on some previous reporting that we knew about. Before we get into all that, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below with your thoughts. So this report comes from Natasha Bertrand. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw her tweet up on the screen here before we get into what we're really going to unpackage, which is the full report. And it says, the U.S. military has significantly increased its surveillance of Mexican drug cartels over the past 2 weeks, with sophisticated spy planes flying at least 18 missions over the southwestern U.S. and in international airspace around the Baja Peninsula. The Pentagon has historically flown only about one surveillance mission a month around the U.S.-Mexico border. Typically, officials instead focus these planes on collecting intelligence on other priorities, such as Russian activity in Ukraine or hunting Russian and Chinese subs. So we're now going to dive into this massive bombshell report that CNN dropped February 10th, morning of February 10th, the day after the Super Bowl. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it breaks down this whole thing. Let's remember for a second that about a week-ish ago, a little bit right around there, give or take a day or two, there was the major report that went viral all over the internet that an RC-135 flying in the Gulf of California around the western side of Mexico might have gotten into Mexican airspace. That was refuted. There was a lot of confusion. The United States government actually didn't do a very good job at all of cleaning up any of that confusion. They were purposely very ambiguous with it. Then there was a report that came from Fox News about P-8s and U-2 spy planes flying the border, doing recon, signals intelligence, gathering as much intel as they could, presumably on the cartels, as Natasha said right here. It is targeting the drug cartels over the past 2 weeks. So why don't we go ahead right now? We'll just get into the CNN report and all of the new details it has about a major escalation against the cartels. So let's get into the CNN report. These are details that really shine a light on what's going on, show how the escalation ladder is going up. So and you saw in that tweet, there have been at least 18 confirmed recon spy flights around the border, the western side of Mexico. It says the flights were conducted over a 10-day period in late January and early February, represent a dramatic escalation activity, current and former military officials say, and come as President Donald Trump directs the military to secure the border and deter cartels' drug smuggling operations. Like I said, generally speaking, it was reported there's only one of these flights a month. Now, in a 10-day period, you're seeing roughly 2 flights a day. They're flying U-2s, P-8s, RC-135, and instead of those resources, or I wouldn't want to say instead of, those resources generally are pointed towards the Russians and the Chinese. Now they're being pointed at our own border. It says the activity highlights how the military had already begun shifting finite U.S. national security capabilities away from overseas threats to focus on the southern border, where Trump declared a national emergency. Here we go. Here's some more details. At least 11 of these recent flights around the U.S. have been Navy P-8s, which is an incredibly sophisticated spy plane that you often use to hunt submarines. In this case, obviously, there's not a submarine coming across the border, right? But these planes can gather signals intelligence. They can gather all sorts of different things. Similar to an RC-135, they can soak up that intel, spit it all out in real time to people elsewhere, decision makers who can decide what they want to do. It says one nearly 6-hour flight on February 3rd was conducted by a U-2 spy plane, which is obviously, was made during the Cold War to spy on the Soviet Union at extremely high altitudes. And it says current and former military officials with deep experience in counter narcotics work on the border said they did not recall a U-2 being used for this purpose. So this sounds like maybe the first time ever a U-2 has been deployed to hunt the cartels, find information out about them, find out what they might be up to, gather as much information as possible. Now, let's continue a little bit here. The flight path spanned the U.S.-Mexico border with missions in California, Arizona, and Texas. CNN also identified at least one longer mission that looped around the Baja Peninsula and passed near Sinaloa. That's the one that was the RC-135 Rivet, where people were wondering, openly speculating based on its flight path, whether or not it had crossed into Mexican airspace. Again, that has not been confirmed. Nobody knows. It says here, though, they might not even need to, because despite flying over U.S. airspace along the border, these aircraft are capable of collecting intelligence deep within Mexico. The ramp-up underscores Trump's determination to wield the military as the lead agency tackling counter-narcotics and border security, two issues that have historically been led by domestic law enforcement agencies. Now, this is a line in the report coming up here that I find to be maybe the most interesting. Some current and former U.S. officials expressed quiet concern to CNN that the intelligence flights could be part of an effort to find targets for the U.S. military to strike itself, to hit on our own. And that's kind of really the meat of what we're talking about here. The reason this is being done, I believe, and I believe if you talk to people in the know, you'd come away with the exact same belief, is we are flying these unprecedented spy flights for one purpose and one purpose only. So that if Trump makes a decision, he wants to strike a cartel leader, manufacturing area, weapons depots, whatever it might be, he has the best intelligence possible. Again, these planes don't need to fly into Mexican airspace to spy on whatever they're looking for, whatever signals intelligence they're gathering up. They're analyzing it. They're passing it on to the next level. Target packages are being built. And from there, you have a wide variety of options at your disposal should President Donald Trump make the decision he wants to strike. And that leads me to my big prediction. My prediction is that at some point in 2025, I actually just had a long conversation with a good buddy of mine from that world. My prediction is you are going to see a strike at some point in 2025 against a cartel leader. I would be willing to bet, if you were asking me to put a percentage chance that it happens, I would say it's probably at about, given what we know now, 70% likely that that's going to happen. I think it's going to be done to send a message. I think they're going to pick a cartel leader, they're going to find where he is, and they're either going to hammer him with a drone strike, or they're going to send a Tier 1 element, whether that's Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, whatever it might be, to go in and just either kill or grab this guy to make an example out of them, because you have to, these guys have to fear you. You have to put the fear of God into these cartels, or they're not going to stop doing what they're doing. So we can look at the information in front of us, which is we are flying unprecedented numbers of spy flights all over the border. We're flying them up and down the whole way. We're flying them on the western side into the Gulf of California, the Baja Peninsula. We're not doing that, as I've said before, for fun. These new details from CNN make it crystal clear that they are targeting the cartels. You don't target someone just for the hell of it. Now, they might gather all that information, they might present it to President Trump, and then he's going to say, you know what? I don't really want to do this. This isn't what we want to do at this point in time. Or Trump's going to say, like he did with the bad guy they took out in Somalia with 16 F-18s that flew into a mountain range and just flattened the caves they were in. He's going to say, yes, we're going to do this. We're going to hit these guys. We're going to go after them. And you can't do that if you don't have the intelligence. If you don't have the human intelligence, if you don't have the signals intelligence, you need them both. And I have no doubt we've got people on the ground working the human intelligence angles. I am 1,000% sure that is also occurring. But the fact President Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the military as a whole are running these spy flights at the rate they are, which we've never seen before, and they're making it very open. They're letting everyone know. They're signaling to everybody, we're doing this. Maybe that alone is kind of the message, to scare them before something bigger comes up. But you don't do this to just sit on your hands. You do this so that if the option is presented to you, you have the capabilities and the means to get the job done. So my prediction in 2025 is that you're going to see President Trump order a strike against a cartel leader to let the world know he's not playing games. And what we're seeing right now with the military and all the spy flights is gathering the intelligence you need to do an operation like that. Is it guaranteed to happen? Nothing's guaranteed to happen. Military operations get called off all the time. Things in life unrelated to the military get called off all the time. It's about having options. And right now, that's what they're doing. They're building intelligence. They're flying spy flights like we've never seen before. And they're doing that so if the day comes when President Trump says, I want to hit one of these guys, they are ready to do it. I think he will. That is my prediction for 2025. Could be wrong, but I am 75% sure that's going to happen. I want you to comment below if you think President Trump will order a strike against the cartels, and if you think it's a smart idea. Should we hit them with drones? Should we send in Delta Force, SEAL Team 6? How do you think we should handle the cartels? What do you think these flights mean? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.